Rabies, a single word that carries with it a weight of fear, urgency, and a race against time. This ancient foe, known to humanity for over 4,000 years, remains one of the deadliest viral diseases to affect both animals and humans across the globe. But what exactly is rabies, and why does it continue to instill fear in the hearts of many? Rabies is a viral disease that primarily attacks the central nervous system, leading to encephalitis, or swelling of the brain, and ultimately, death. The virus is typically transmitted through the saliva of infected animals, most commonly through bites, but it can also spread through scratches or when infected saliva comes into contact with open wounds or mucous membranes. The progression of rabies within the human body is a harrowing journey, from initial infection to the onset of severe and often fatal symptoms. The tragedy of rabies lies not only in its devastating effects, but also in the fact that, once symptoms appear, the disease is nearly always fatal. Yet, rabies is preventable. With prompt medical treatment following exposure, rabies can be stopped in its tracks, saving lives. This is why awareness and education about rabies are critical. Understanding how to prevent rabies exposure, recognizing the signs of infection, and knowing the steps to take if exposure occurs can make the difference between life and death. Around the world, efforts to vaccinate domestic animals, educate communities, and provide life-saving treatments have made significant strides in the fight against rabies. Our journey today is not just one of caution, but of hope. Through education, vaccination, and global cooperation, we can envision a world where rabies no longer poses a threat to the lives of animals and humans alike. Join us as we delve deeper into the story of rabies, its impact, and the ongoing battle to defeat it once and for all. The story of rabies is as ancient as civilization itself, woven into the fabric of human history through myths, art, and literature. Descriptions of rabies-like symptoms have been found in the Mesopotamian Codex of Ishnuna circa 2300 BCE, illustrating humanity's long-standing battle with this fearsome disease. Despite its recognition in ancient times, understanding of rabies and its transmission remained shrouded in mystery for millennia. It was often associated with supernatural forces, and treatments were based more on superstition than science. The turning point in our fight against rabies came in the late 19th century, thanks to the groundbreaking work of a French scientist named Louis Pasteur. Already renowned for his work in microbiology, Pasteur's interest in rabies led to some of his most remarkable discoveries. Pasteur and his colleagues, through meticulous experimentation, identified the rabies virus and how it could be weakened to create a vaccine. In 1885, Pasteur's theory was put to the ultimate test when a 9-year-old boy named Joseph Meister was brought to him, having been mauled by a rabid dog. With no guaranteed cure and the boy's life at stake, Pasteur administered his experimental rabies vaccine. The treatment was a success, saving young Joseph's life and marking the world's first effective vaccination against rabies. Pasteur's breakthrough not only provided a means to prevent rabies but also laid the foundation for the field of immunology. His work has saved countless lives and remains a cornerstone of our ongoing battle against rabies. Today, the legacy of Louis Pasteur lives on in the global fight against rabies. Through vaccination and public health initiatives, we continue to build on his monumental achievements, striving for a future where rabies is relegated to the history books. Rabies is a disease that knows no bounds, affecting both wild and domestic animals across the globe. But how does this deadly virus make its way from these animals to humans? Let's delve into the fascinating yet perilous world of rabies transmission. At the heart of rabies transmission is the virus itself, which resides in the saliva of infected animals. The most common method of transmission is through the bite of an infected animal, where the virus is directly introduced into the body through broken skin. But bites aren't the only way rabies can be transmitted. Scratches from infected animals, or even contact between infected saliva and open wounds, cuts, or the mucous membranes of the eyes, nose, or mouth, can also serve as gateways for the virus. Globally, dogs are the leading cause of rabies transmission to humans, accounting for the vast majority of rabies deaths. This is especially true in parts of the world where dog vaccination programs are less common. Cats, though less frequently, can also transmit the virus and pose a risk to humans. In the wild, the carriers of rabies are as diverse as nature itself. Bats, raccoons, skunks, and foxes are among the most common reservoirs of the virus in many regions, each playing a crucial role in the natural cycle of rabies transmission. Understanding which animals are most likely to carry rabies in your region is the first step in prevention. Whether it's a wild bat or a stray dog, the risk of rabies is ever present, and caution should always be exercised around animals, especially if they are acting unusually aggressive or sick. While the transmission of rabies might seem daunting, knowledge is our best defense. By vaccinating our pets, avoiding contact with wild animals, and seeking immediate medical attention if exposed, we can protect ourselves and our communities from this ancient adversary. The journey of rabies within the human body is a silent and insidious one, beginning with an incubation period that can last from weeks to months. This critical window between exposure and the onset of symptoms is the only opportunity for effective intervention. After the virus enters the body, it travels slowly along nerve cells to the brain, a journey that can take time, explaining the variable incubation period. During this time, the infected individual shows no symptoms, and the virus goes undetected. The first signs of rabies are often nonspecific fever, headache, and general weakness or discomfort. As the virus makes its way to the brain, these symptoms quickly escalate to more severe neurological symptoms. One of the hallmark symptoms of rabies is hydrophobia, or fear of water, which arises due to the painful spasms swallowing triggers in the throat. Agitation, confusion, and hyperactivity may also manifest, along with hallucinations and insomnia, painting a terrifying picture of rabies' assault on the mind. As the disease progresses, paralysis begins to set in, starting at the site of the bite and spreading through the body. This paralysis eventually leads to coma and, without treatment, death. The speed at which these symptoms progress once they begin is alarmingly fast, leaving little time for intervention. The tragic reality of rabies is that once symptoms appear, the disease is nearly always fatal. The virus's ability to evade detection until it has irreversibly damaged the nervous system is what makes rabies so deadly. This grim outcome underscores the critical importance of seeking immediate medical attention after any potential exposure to rabies. Vaccination after exposure, before symptoms appear, can prevent the virus from reaching its deadly final stages. Knowledge of these symptoms, and the urgency they demand, can save lives. While the threat of rabies is real and its consequences severe, the good news is that this deadly disease is entirely preventable. The key to combating rabies lies in proactive measures, awareness, and immediate action. One of the most effective ways to prevent rabies is through the vaccination of pets. Dogs, cats, and ferrets can all be vaccinated against rabies, forming a critical barrier between the virus and humans. Regular vaccinations not only protect our beloved animals, but also significantly reduce the chances of rabies transmission to humans. Pre-exposure prophylaxis, or preemptive vaccination, is another cornerstone of rabies prevention. This is particularly recommended for individuals at high risk of exposure, such as veterinarians, animal control workers, and laboratory personnel working with the rabies virus. Travelers to countries with high rates of rabies are also advised to receive this vaccine, providing them with a shield of immunity against potential exposure. But what should you do if you're bitten by an animal, whether it's domestic or wild? First, wash the wound immediately and thoroughly with soap and water for at least 15 minutes. This simple action can greatly reduce the virus's chances of taking hold. After cleaning the wound, seek medical advice without delay. Healthcare professionals can assess the need for a post-exposure prophylaxis, which includes a series of rabies vaccinations. This treatment is incredibly effective at preventing rabies if administered before symptoms appear. The success stories of rabies prevention through vaccination and immediate action are countless. Each story underscores the power of knowledge and preparedness in the face of potential rabies exposure. In the battle against rabies, each of us plays a crucial role. By vaccinating our pets, considering pre-exposure vaccination for high-risk activities, and knowing what to do if exposed, we can all contribute to the global effort to prevent this ancient disease. Together, we can protect ourselves, our communities, and our furry friends from the threat of rabies. The journey of rabies within the human body is a silent and insidious one, beginning with an incubation period that can last from weeks to months. This critical window between exposure and the onset of symptoms is the only opportunity for effective intervention. After the virus enters the body, it travels slowly along nerve cells to the brain, a journey that can take time, explaining the variable incubation period. During this time, the infected individual shows no symptoms, and the virus goes undetected. The first signs of rabies are often nonspecific fever, headache, and general weakness or discomfort. As the virus makes its way to the brain, these symptoms quickly escalate to more severe neurological symptoms. One of the hallmark symptoms of rabies is hydrophobia, or fear of water, which arises due to the painful spasms swallowing triggers in the throat. Agitation, confusion, and hyperactivity may also manifest, along with hallucinations and insomnia, painting a terrifying picture of rabies' assault on the mind. As the disease progresses, paralysis begins to set in, starting at the site of the bite and spreading through the body. This paralysis eventually leads to coma and, without treatment, death. The speed at which these symptoms progress once they begin is alarmingly fast, leaving little time for intervention. The tragic reality of rabies is that once symptoms appear, the disease is nearly always fatal. The virus's ability to evade detection until it has irreversibly damaged the nervous system is what makes rabies so deadly. This grim outcome underscores the critical importance of seeking immediate medical attention after any potential exposure to rabies. Vaccination after exposure, before symptoms appear, can prevent the virus from reaching its deadly final stages. Knowledge of these symptoms, and the urgency they demand, can save lives. Diagnosing rabies presents unique challenges that set it apart from other infectious diseases. The stealthy nature of the rabies virus, coupled with its devastating impact, makes early diagnosis both crucial and difficult. One of the primary challenges in diagnosing rabies is the disease's lengthy incubation period, which can range from a few weeks to several months. During this time, the infected individual typically shows no symptoms, making it nearly impossible to confirm rabies through clinical diagnosis alone. Once symptoms appear, diagnosing rabies becomes a race against time. Fortunately, advancements in medical science have provided us with several tests to diagnose rabies in humans and animals, albeit mostly post-mortem for the latter. In humans, samples of saliva, serum, spinal fluid, and skin biopsies from the nape of the neck can be tested for the rabies virus or antibodies. The direct fluorescent antibody test, or DFA, is the most common test for rabies in animals, requiring brain tissue samples. These tests are crucial not only for confirming the presence of the rabies virus, but also for guiding public health responses to prevent further spread. However, the need for brain tissue samples in animals highlights the challenges and limitations of rabies diagnosis, particularly in living subjects. The complexities of diagnosing rabies underscore the importance of prevention and the critical need for immediate action following potential exposure. While modern medicine has given us the tools to confirm rabies, the best strategy remains to avoid the disease through vaccination and prompt wound care. While the prognosis for rabies after the onset of symptoms is grim, medical science offers a beacon of hope in the form of post-exposure prophylaxis, or PEP, a series of interventions designed to prevent the virus from taking hold. PEP begins with the immediate washing of the wound with soap and water, a simple yet critical step that can significantly reduce the virus's chance of entering the nervous system. Following this, a dose of rabies immunoglobulin is administered directly around the wound, providing immediate antibodies to fight the virus. The final and perhaps most crucial component of PEP is the rabies vaccine series, a series of injections given over a period of weeks to build long-lasting immunity against the virus. This comprehensive approach has proven to be incredibly effective at preventing the development of rabies after exposure. In rare cases where symptoms do manifest, the Milwaukee Protocol has been attempted as an experimental treatment. This involves placing the patient in a medically induced coma and administering antiviral drugs, although its success rates have been variable and it remains controversial among medical professionals. Rabies remains a significant global health concern, with tens of thousands of deaths annually, primarily in Asia and Africa where vaccination and control measures are less prevalent. Efforts to control and eliminate rabies globally have been ramped up, with organizations like the World Health Organization leading campaigns for mass vaccination of dogs, public education, and increased access to PEP in high-risk areas. These initiatives have made significant strides towards reducing rabies cases worldwide, demonstrating the power of collective action and international cooperation in combating this deadly disease. The battle against rabies is filled with both historical and recent case studies that highlight the challenges and successes in managing this disease. From the tragic tale of Gina Gizzi, the first person to survive rabies without vaccination thanks to the Milwaukee Protocol, to the pioneering work of Louis Pasteur, who developed the first rabies vaccine, these stories form the backbone of our understanding and response to rabies. In recent years, cases like that of a young child in Peru or a woman in India have shown both the challenges of rabies in rural areas lacking medical infrastructure and the triumphs of timely PEP administration. Each case of rabies, whether averted or tragically realized, reinforces the importance of awareness, rapid response, and the global effort to eradicate this ancient scourge. As we continue to advance medically and collaborate internationally, the hope for a rabies-free future becomes ever more tangible,